Oh, yes.
Veterans and Human Services to order at 6:45 p.m.
Members of my committee include myself and Councillor Waterman. So we have a guest this evening, and before I invite Mr. St. Croix to come up, just by way of context, our city auditor, Deb Gould, sent down a letter that made it to the council in regards to appointing Michael St. Croix as the Assistant City Auditor pursuant to Section 5-2.3 of the city ordinances. And essentially what that ordinance says is that the city auditor can appoint the Assistant City Auditor subject to the confirmation of the City Council. So that's what's before us in terms of the business. So I'll invite Mr. St. Croix to come up, and if you want to say a little bit about yourself, that would be great. You give name and address for the record, please.
Okay, great. My name is Michael St. Croix. My address is 401 Broadway, Providence, Rhode Island, 02909. Very happy to be here. Today was my first day in Attleboro, and very good energy, and I liked everyone that I met. So very good day so far. Very happy to be here. After college in 2018, I graduated with a bachelor's degree in accounting. Moved on and did public accounting for about 4.5 years, did auditing and tax compliance. Moved on and worked in healthcare for where I was most recently. Did a lot of general ledger accounting, so I have that perfect blend of general ledger accounting and auditing, so I feel like I'd be a great fit for the position here. Very, very happy to be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any questions for Mr. St. Croix? President Delicio?
It's not a question. I just wanted to welcome you. Nothing says welcome Attleboro like coming down in front of us on your first day.
Thank you very much.
But no, really glad you accepted. We had the opportunity. I know you met with Deb a couple times. You met with myself, Deb, and Lynn Davin. Your skills are impressive. Your experience is impressive. And you're going to learn a lot from Deb, and welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't worry about it. I was just going to say good luck and congratulations. That's all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for being here, Michael. Yeah, unless you have any comments, anything you want to add, Deb?
I'm sorry. So Deb Gould, I just really appreciate the council support. We're in a time of transition. I'm looking forward to working with Mike. I think he had a great first day. He's going to learn a lot and hopefully enjoy working with all of you as well as me. I know that the council expressed some kind words for Liz that left my office. I wanted to say thank you. I have a wonderful staff. I always had a great staff, and I expect to hopefully have some more years with new folks in the office and stuff. So we look forward to working together. If you need anything from my office, if you continue to go through me, but in the future, I'll bring Mike to some of the meetings, the budget meetings. When Mason's back for budget and admin, we'll collaborate with him and the administration and hopefully move forward with some upgrades that are on the horizon in January. We're working with MIS on some stuff. So if there's anything you need, continue to reach out and we're happy to help. Thank you.
Great. Thanks.
Have a nice holiday, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice
Thank
to
you for
admit
everything, Deb.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deb, and thank you, Michael. Thanks for being here, and welcome to Attleboro.
Yeah.
And I guess this is fitting, being your first day here on the job, so.
It can only get easier from here.
It's all, yeah, it's all easy.
I'm not from here. Right.
Take care.
Thank you. Yes.
Bye-bye.
We have to have a vote.
Yes. From the docket of December 3rd, 2024, I move to approve the appointment of Michael St. Croix to the position of Assistant Auditor for the City of Attleboro, term to expire February 2026.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Obviously, we just heard from Michael, and of course the City Auditor as well. Really looking forward to the great work that that Michael will do, that I trust he'll do for the city here. His resume is very impressive. I don't know if you all had a chance to see it, but looking forward to many great things from him. All right. Any further comments?
None.
Questions? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, that concludes the business of Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services. I move to adjourn at 6:50.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned at 6:50. Thank you.
And we'll roll right into the regular meeting as soon as, good work, so excuse us for once. Okay, let's see how it goes out. I haven't heard.
I don't know if I should be prepared to do next
We
stuff.
started
because I
chatting
know
back and
it's taken
forth.
out.
I might have forgotten.
Maybe he didn't get started at 6:45. We'll find out.
I'd like to call this meeting of the municipal council to order at 6:50. Please join me for a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's see, Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice of the first public hearing, the only public hearing?
Certainly. Public hearing regarding a request for National Grid and Verizon for 4 poles, wires, and fixtures along Dunham Street to feed new medical office building at Sturdy Memorial.
Thank you. Do we have anyone to speak in favor? If you could just give us your name and address for the record, please?
My name is John Rupiah. Where I work or my home?
Just your work address is fine.
Yeah, I work from the facility in Hopedale, 245 South Main Street in Hopedale.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah, I'm here to represent National Grid.
Okay. Here to speak in favor of the polls?
Yeah, we have new poles. We're gonna install them on Dunham Street
Sure.
and dig a conduit, going towards Park Street. We're gonna install the transformer.
Thank you.
And that's about it.
All right. Vice President Dolan.
Thank you. And this is for the new Sturdy building, correct?
Study building.
Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Could I have his last name again, please?
Sure. John, do you mind spelling your last name for us, please?
RUP for Peter, IA.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Do we have anyone else to speak in favor? Do we have anyone to speak against? Anyone to speak neither for nor against? Vice President Dolan, do you see any reason to keep this public hearing open?
I do not.
I declare that public hearing closed. I would now entertain a motion to enter into committee of the whole.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? We now in committee of the whole, if anyone would like to address the council. Okay, seeing none, I would entertain a motion to arise from committee of the whole.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. We will now go into committee reports, beginning as always with... Oh, yeah. Totally forgot about the mayor's and clerk's communication, so...
He was just testing to see
I
if
was
we were
testing,
paying attention.
yeah, exactly, you know?
Yeah, you are making sure. Good.
Yeah, just making sure you passed.
Pretty quick. December
Communication.
17, 2024. Dear Municipal Council, I respectfully submit a communication from Superintendent of Water, Courtney Allen, concerning amendments to the Water Emergency Ordinance 16-12.24. The ongoing drought has resulted in a water emergency being declared by Mass DEP. A review of the city ordinance for the water department, as well as input from the public, showed that city ordinance 16-12.24, water emergency, does not completely suit the needs of the water department. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body amend section 16-12.24 revised ordinances as follows. In Section 4, definitions revise irrigation of lawns via sprinklers or automatic irrigation systems to irrigation of lawns, gardens, flowers, and ornamental plants via sprinkles or automatic irrigation systems. In Section 13, penalties, revise the penalties as follows. Number 1, first violation, $75. Second violation, $150. Third violation, $250. And fourth and subsequent violations, $400.
Public Works, please.
For your information, in order to better accomplish the objectives set forth in the state's opioid settlement fund agreement, we have revised the job description for the opioid-funded social worker position. Moving forward, that position will report to the police department and the human resources department instead of the health department. This change was necessitated by the fact that the social worker will now be working more directly with residents and families struggling with opioid use disorder and related mental health issues, by splitting time working with the police department POP team and with the patrons and staff of the Attleboro Public Library. Because of its downtown location and extended building hours, the library has seen an increase in number of visitors who have or have had substance use disorder or related mental health issues. A copy of the revised job description is provided.
Even though it's an FYI, I'm going to put that into Personnel, Veterans, Human Services.
I respectfully submit a communication from Attleboro Public Schools Director of Finance, Mark Furtado, regarding the following fiscal year 24 fiscal obligations that were not received in time to be processed in the normal fiscal 24 business cycle. Language Testing International, $20, and Language Testing International, $25. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body to authorize the school department to pay this previous school year bill totaling $45 as identified in Mr. Furtado's communication.
Finance Committee, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Chief of Police Kyle P. Hegney regarding the need for funds to pay contractual sick leave stipends for calendar year 2024. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body appropriate $21,647 from the undesignated fund balance free cash general government account to the police sick pay incentive account.
Public Safety Emergency Management, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Council on Aging Director Kelly Lee regarding the filing of disclosure of financial interest by special municipal employee forms for the following part-time city and school employee who seeks to participate in the senior tax abatement program, Donna Veens. Therefore, in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 268A, Section 20C and 20D, I hereby request your honorable body approve this exemption regarding the financial interests identified by these special municipal employees such that they may participate in the senior tax abatement program. All completed and approved forms will be filed with the city clerk.
Special Committee on Tax Abatement, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Library Director Amy Ringler regarding a 60-month lease with Konica Minolta for a copier printer scanner for public use that will accept both cash and credit cards. Public printing has been minimal for the last several years as they have worked to get this service into place. The library sees almost 900 computer users each month and will likely see even more when they are able to provide printing, copying, and scanning. In accordance to Section 5-8 Lease Purchase Agreement of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, I hereby request your honorable body to approve a 60-month lease agreement with Konica Minolta.
Finance Committee, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Director of Veteran Services Ben Quell regarding the donation of $810 in assorted gift cards, Target, Walmart, Market Basket, CVS, from Alpha Delta Kappa of Massachusetts. In accordance with Section 1-12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, I hereby request your honorable body accept these generous donations to the City of Attleboro.
Personnel, Veterans, Human Services, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Director of Veteran Services Ben Quell regarding the donation of $2,150 in Walmart gift cards from American Legion Auxiliary 312. In accordance with Section 1-12 of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, I hereby request your honorable body accept these generous donations to the City of Attleboro.
Personnel, Veterans, Human Services, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from APS Director of Finance Mark Furtado regarding a 60-month lease for a production copier for the CTE graphics program. In accordance to Section 5-8 Lease Purchase Agreement of the revised ordinances of the City of Attleboro, I hereby request your honorable body to approve 60-month lease agreement with Canon USA.
Finance Committee, please.
I respectfully submit a communication from Director of Planning and Development Gary Eurasian, referencing a letter from Peter Lavoie, P.E. of D&L Design Group Incorporated, and owner of 44 Buffington Street. More specifically, Assessor's Plat number 19, Lot 365, and number lots 369, in which he offers to convey a drainage easement associated with the street extension plan entitled Buffington Street Extension Map 19, Lot 365-369, 0 Bluffington Street in Attleboro, Massachusetts, that was approved by the Planning Board. Therefore, I hereby request your honorable body accept the drainage easement associated with 44 Buffington Street, more specifically Assessors Plat number 19, Lot 365 and 369.
Zoning and Land Use, please.
I regret to inform you that we have received a resignation from Community Development Director Stacia Chavez. Stacia's last day of employment was December 13th, 2024.
And we want to thank Stacia. She will be missed for sure.
I respectfully submit for confirmation by your honorable body the appointment of Monique Scott Mega of 1110 Park Street to fill an unexpired term on the Cultural Council, term to expire February 2027.
Personnel, Veterans, Human Services, please.
Sincerely, Kathleen D. Simone, Mayor.
Thank you. We'll now go on to a reading of the clerk's communications.
Clerk's communication, December 17, 2024. We have received a Class 2 renewal application from Daniel Martinez, doing business as R&D Auto Sales, 116 Dickens Street, with 5 customer parking spaces and 8 display spaces.
License Committee, please.
We have received a guard dog application from Zahid Queer for a dog to be located at 97 Emery Street, LLC.
License Committee, please. And Councilor Lavoy, would you like to call for a public hearing on February 18th?
I would.
Second.
Thank you, Council Holmes. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
That concludes communications for this evening.
That's probably a good time to go into committee reports. We'll go into committee reports, and starting as always with Council Thomas.
Thank you. And reporting for the Finance Committee from the docket of December 17, 2024. I move to authorize the school department to pay the following bills from fiscal year 24 totaling $427.26. Kevin DiBiaso, $242.78. Catherine Young, $184.48.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
Previous year's bills.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, this will be a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Cobus.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Foa?
Yes.
Mr. Lavoy?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Thank you. From the docket of December 17, 2024, I move to authorize the payment of a fiscal year 24 invoice from the YMCA of Attleboro CAR program for services in the amount of $73.05. There is no transfer of funds needed to pay this bill, as there is sufficient funds in Fund 2519 opioid settlement funds.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
Transfer.
Additional
Or
questions?
authorization, excuse me.
Sorry?
Just an authorization, yeah.
Okay, thank
Transfer,
you.
Authorization.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, this will be a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Tavares.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Lavoy?
Yes.
Ms. Foa?
Yes.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
And from the docket of December 17, 2024, I move to authorize the school department to pay the following fiscal year 24 bills totaling $18,507.15. Ardent Engineering, $883.50. Ardent Engineering, $16,623.65. Allison Callahan, $1,000.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
HVAC and a math and science award.
Thank you. Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, this will be a roll call vote, beginning with Councilor Cobus.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Foa?
Yes.
Mr. Lavoy?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
And that concludes the business for the Finance Committee. I call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Foa.
The IT and Infrastructure Committee has no business this evening. I call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you very much. Mr. Lavoy.
Thank you. Reporting for the License Committee from the docket of December 17th, 2024. I move to approve Class 2 renewal application from Seacon Gas Repairs, doing business as 123 Mobile at 300 County Street, with 4 customer and 9 display spaces.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
Pretty straightforward. Everything looked good.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, this will be a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Mr. Lavoy, if you want, you can just read the names. You don't need to read the display spaces
Perfect.
and everything else. We read it last week in the committee.
Sounds great to me. Thank you, Mr. President.
You're welcome.
From the docket of December 3rd, 2024, I move to approve the following Class 2 renewal applications. Lime Rock Motors LLC, 97 Emery Street LLC, and North Main Street Auto Division of K&L, doing business as New England Tire.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
Everything was pretty straightforward, everything looked good.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, this will be a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. From the docket of December 3rd, 2024, I move to approve the following Class 2 renewal applications from Lime Rock Motors LLC, 97 Emery Street LLC, North Main Street Auto Division. Is this?
I think this was
Yeah, it's a double print here.
double print right there.
Copy that. So disregard my previous comments here. From the docket of November 19th, 2024, I move to approve the following Class 2 renewal applications from New England Cars, Inc., Attleboro Shell Auto Sales, LLC, Your Mechanic, Inc., doing business as Better Auto, M. Ziarco, doing business as Mike's Automotive, Automaze, Inc., Route 1 Automotive, Inc., East Coast Auto Sales, Inc., GMV, Inc., doing business as Byrider, Auto 183 LLC, Joe and Mary Inc., doing business as Gas Plus, Route 123 Village Auto Sales Inc., and something. Happentonitis Automotive Group Inc., doing business as Toy, Cars, Motorsports, and Pleasant Auto Center. Landez Enterprises, doing business as Landez Family Auto Sales, South Attleboro Auto Sales Inc., and M&J Auto Sales Inc.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
I will make brief comments simply on Landez Auto, as I mentioned in committee report. There was a couple, like one complaint early on in the year when I did a surprise visit in the summer. They didn't have the lemon law tags, which we're obviously pushing hard for in the city. Upon my second visit, they had the tags in order. So everything looks good as of now, but we'll keep on them just to be safe.
Great. Thank you. Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, this too is a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. And from the docket of November 19th, 2024, I move to approve a Class 3 renewal application from Auto 183 LLC at 83 Dickens Street.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
Everything looked good, pretty straightforward.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, this is a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. That concludes the business for the License Committee. We'll call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Council Reynolds.
Thank you. Reporting for city property and claims. From the docket of December 17th, 2024, I entertain a motion to accept the following 9 book donations to the Attleboro schools. 1 house plants for beginners to the high school library, 3 books about plant and gardening for kids for the middle school libraries, and 5 the reason for a flower for the elementary school libraries.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
No, I have no further comments.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, this is a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
From the docket of December 20th, 2022, I move to transfer the care, custody, management, and control to the Attleboro Park Commission, and to be subject to the provisions of Article 97 of the amendments to the Massachusetts Constitution, the Article 97. Approximately 82 and 1900 acres of land identified as Assessors Plat number 115, Lot 1, and the adjacent 6 acres of land identified as Assessors Plat 99, Lot 74, located at 104 Mechanic Street, which are all held by the city for general municipal purposes as shown on plans, copies of which are on file at the Office of the Director of Planning and Development, and to authorize the mayor to execute all documents necessary and proper to accomplish the purpose of this vote and to act on anything related thereto.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
I do have one from Councilor.
Mr. Cobus.
Thank you. I'd like to make an amendment, and so I will pass the proposed amendment around. And so I'll read the sort of preamble to this while this is going around. The proposed amendment to the Article 97 designation clarifies and expands the range of allowed public recreation used on city-owned land, while the original intent of placing this property under Article 97 was to ensure its permanent protection for conservation and recreation purposes. This amendment specifically identifies additional permissible uses related to community events and athletics by explicitly including facilities and performance structures for summer concerts and providing for amenities like restrooms and supportive structures for cross-country meets. We memorialize this council's intent for the property in an attempt to ensure the property can host and accommodate these activities without future legal uncertainties. This forward-thinking approach helps the city avoid complications down the road, preserving the public's right to enjoy the land's open space while allowing for thoughtful enhancements that meet our recreational and cultural needs. So I'll make the amendment. The document shows the original motion and the amended motion here. This has been reviewed by the city solicitor. So with that said, I move to amend the motion to read as follows. I move to transfer the care, custody, management, and control of approximately 82 in 82.19 acres of land identified as Assessor's Plat number 115, Lot 1, and the adjacent 6 acres of land identified as Assessor's Plat number 99, Lot 74, located at 104 Mechanic Street, currently held by the city for general municipal purposes, to the Attleboro Park Commission, subject to the provisions of Article 97 of the amendments to the Massachusetts Constitution for conservation and public recreation purposes, in perpetuity as shown on plans on file at the Office of the Director of Planning and Development. Further, such public recreation purposes shall include, but not be limited to, the construction, operation, and maintenance of performance structures for public summer concerts, cross-country track events, and facilities associated with these uses, and to authorize the mayor to extend all documents necessary and proper to accomplish the purpose of this vote and to act on anything related thereto.
Second.
The motion is in order. Any comments?
The main goal of this is to memorialize our intent so that down the road, if we decide we want to build the hat shell or further facilities for cross-country events, and the state decides to give us trouble with regards to that, we can point back to this vote and say, when we originally put this under Chapter 97, this was the intent of the council, and hopefully this will give us further protection or the ability to do that. And it's been reviewed by the city solicitor, and the solicitor agreed that this would be acceptable to put this language in there in this vote by the council. I personally really like the idea of using that land for summer concerts or in the hat shell. I don't think when it was originally proposed to us it was fully ready for us to accept, but I do want to keep that option open to us, and so I think this kind of keeps that does something to keep that option open and available to us as best we can, and memorializes sort of our intent that we do want to move forward with that in the future.
Council Reynolds.
I have no problem with it. It stays, and I mentioned this last week as well, that I thought that the hat shell would definitely be something the state would have approved. And whether we ever get there or have the money for it is still unbeknownst to us, but at least
Agreed.
it would be there. And the idea of restrooms there, I think, is a great idea as well, because we are doing what's now almost a full state when it comes to the cross-country stuff. And so those types of things are all recreational, and I don't see any problem with adding it. Whether the state will pay attention to it is another thing, but at least we'll have it there.
Vice President Dolan.
Thank you. So I don't have an issue with, bathrooms or using it as cross-country meets and everything. The only thing that concerns me is what the solicitor says here: disputes sometimes arise regarding whether a particular use, activity, construction activity, or structure complies with Article 97 restrictions, and it's conceivable that in certain circumstances, some of the activities, structures of facilities referenced broadly in the vote could be construed to fall outside the scope of those that Article 97 authorizes. So with that being said, it concerns me that if we add this amendment, could the state send it back to us? Could the state just say, no, this falls out the scope, and not accept this as a whole? That's my concern.
So, yeah, Council
I
Reynolds?
would think that they could, but then we would have to readjust it to fit.
Right, we'd
what
have
the
to do it
state- we'd-
over.
Well,
If I may interject, I don't think that's something we should be kind of surmising right now. If you read the last sentence of his opinion, it's, however, I have no objection to the council including language in this vote to memorialize the intent. I spoke with the solicitor this afternoon, and he gave me that same, I think this is a, would rather have it and not need it than need it and not have
Yeah.
it situation. I think when you look at what the definition of a park is, a lot of this stuff very well may already fall into it. If you look at some of the other parks across the state, even in the city, a lot of this is already in there. I think what he says, which resonates with me, is to memorialize its intent. So I think it's a valid claim to raise, Veep. Vice President, sorry. Council Fowler?
I can't speak entirely to council's intent since I was not present, I think, on council when its intent was originally expressed. My concern is, I think most of this is park function and should have absolutely no difficulty passing the review of Article 97. On the other hand, council's intent can vary. Additional, what I don't want to see is bits and pieces of that area, of that land, of that park being taken away for this use or that use, which may or may not conform to the original plan. So I understood the original plan, it was to have a park and to keep that open space. Whether that is consistent with having an arc in which people play, maybe a permanent one, maybe not a permanent one, I don't know, and I don't want to have to guess. What I think is important is that we keep to the original intent of an open space without limitations. Of course, bathrooms are going to be there. I mean, that we don't need to say that. And we don't need to carve out, I believe, special uses, special uses for the land. Either it falls within Article 97 or it doesn't. And I don't think this actually helps in any way, because the real problem is whether it falls within that intent, not what our intent is tonight.
Councilor LaVoy.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think this is great, and I'll support the amendment. I was probably going to vote no tonight on this, but I think if this amendment passes, I'm fine voting yes. Basically, because these are the things I wanted to make sure did make it in there. I think these are some of the very first ideas that came to fruition when this body looked at this and when people talked about purchasing the land. And I don't think that any of these alter this. If anything, it brings more people to a taxpayer-purchased piece of land. So again, I'll support this, and I think at the very worst case, if the state were to kick it back, then, you know, maybe the body decides that we don't even want to send it through Article 97 because there's things that we want to make sure the people of Attleboro get to have on land they purchase. So thank you for your hard work, and I will support this.
Councilor Sawyer.
I'm very much for the Article 97. I'm very much for, park-related items, and I was unsure about supporting this, but, thinking that maybe this is a park-related item because, other parks have possible music, concert things in there, so, and of course, bathrooms, and, I think it's the state that does the Article 97, I imagine, right? That's correct. So if they say no, then we change this. But I would not, if they say no, not do an Article 97, just change the way that we put the amendment on. But I think it's reasonable for a park. I definitely think Article 97 is where we need to go. And it's good. Like Councilor Boy said, it'll be bringing other people into the park.
Thank you, Councilor Tavares and Councilor Waterman.
So I have no objection to this added language, but I'm just curious, in your conversations with the solicitor, did he opine on whether without this added language, whether these activities and uses would otherwise generally be acceptable under Article 97 if we didn't change anything, just out of curiosity, if I may, President. So.
When I spoke to him, he was still looking into that, and he was not sure, and so he was still researching. And then all I've received back is the email that I shared with all of you. So he was not sure. So I don't know if he shared anything with you, President Delicio.
No, I think, so Article 97, it's an amendment to the Massachusetts State Constitution. So I think we need to start there and look at what this is. When I introduced this 2 years ago, the intent that I had was to protect Highland from being developed into housing and other uses. When I was one of the councilors and with several on this body now, and I remember saying then, the one thing we can't manufacture is more land. It's important to protect the resources that we have. My understanding from the research that I've done is I think that what's proposed here in this amendment is, like I said a few minutes ago, gives us that flexibility and puts us in a position of I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. It might be more, I don't see the state kicking it back to us. What it does, and if you remember, we talked last week that it would have to be 2/3 of the General Assembly in order for us to change it back outside of Article 97 or for other purposes to be in there. Article 97 is pretty broad, but I think what this does, and when we talked, Councilor Flower, about what the intent was, back in, what was it, 2016, 2017, maybe even 2018 actually, was to protect that property, to get that property. Former Mayor Haro put together an ad hoc committee of people and voices from the community that talked about some of the uses that they wanted to see the park used for. I believe the hatch shell was a big point of discussion back several years ago. When we do talk about intent, I think we're talking about memorializing this council's intent, what our intent was. I think the intent of the council back in 2018, purchase the land, protect it, see what happens. What this is doing, as the solicitor said, is I have no objection to the council including language in its vote to memorialize the intent, which I think the state would take, that they would take a deep look at that. Council Waterman.
Generally, I'm very much in favor of this, but I had a question for Councilor Cobus. Would this...
Through the chair, you may.
Pardon?
Through the chair, you may.
Yes. Would this amendment allow for special events that we right now could not envision, like the Vietnam Wall event, which are not permanent?
If I may.
You may, thank you.
And that would fall within a park type event, and so that would be allowed regardless of this event, because that was not building anything permanently there. And if I may continue to add to what you said, as far as memorializing this council's intent, if we did want to build something there and the state rejected it based on Article 97, and then it came back to us for a 2/3 majority vote, it would be useful for us to be able to look back at this vote of the council in this council's intent to say, yes, we're putting this under Article 97, but we want to reserve it, and we want to allow these activities, and we want to allow sort of summer concerts, and we want to allow these cross-country events and these sort of things. So when it would come time for a future council to potentially override Article 97 for a 2/3 vote, if it falls within this broad category, it would make that vote a little bit easier as well, as opposed to now when we try to think back, who was on the council and what was the intent of the council when we originally purchased Highland Country Club. You know, this would at least memorialize this council's intent a little bit.
Just a point of information, the 2/3 is the General Assembly.
Sorry.
Yep,
Yeah.
just want to make sure we're the same. Councilor Reynolds, Vice President Dolan.
So we're going into a direction that I'm not particularly thrilled with when we're talking about if it came back and maybe a newer council doesn't want to keep it for the public recreational purposes, which you were just saying, if it came back and the state says no to it. I mean, if putting something extra in there changes it, because if you said it right here, for conservation and public recreation purposes in perpetuity, conservation and recreational purposes forever. So the addition of what we said is really structures that would include something for a summer concert, cross-country track events, which we're already doing, and the facilities associated with these events. There is nothing that I would want other to say. I mean, or if the state came back and said, hey, you gotta take that out. These are the things that we would be willing to let you do. That maybe the music hatch or no music hatch. You can have concerts there, but not the hatch. Well, then so be it. We're still gonna go, if it comes back here, I would bring it out again as Article 97 to keep that land the way that we said it would be. It would be conservation land, and it would be for recreation. There'd be no cutting it back up again. And I would make sure 300 people showed up here if I had to, if I was no longer on council. Because that's what it's all about. What Todd is asking here, I think, and again, it's supposition that the state would come back and agree to these things. Boston allows the, a structure that allows for concerts and stuff. The cross-country track events, those are not so much recreational as they are sports-related, and, it's attached to the high school. I think they would be approved, but if they aren't, we'd have to take a look at it and rewrite it to a way that fits, that it still remains open area, conservation and recreation, and take out whatever the state wouldn't agree to. So I don't want everybody leaving here thinking, oh, well, we're gonna put this in. And I think, Todd, maybe I misunderstood what you were saying, but to bring it back, if it came back, well, maybe another council would then override it. No, I don't think we should even be talking that could ever be happening, because this is a neighborhood. It's a neighborhood up there, and we don't want to see structures up there like fire and police department in the middle of a neighborhood. That's what I'm saying.
So let me just, before I recognize Vice President Dolan, we're going down.
We're going down a hole, yeah, it's a rabbit hole.
It's not even a rabbit hole. I mean, this thing's like a volcano hole. So all we're trying to do is just transfer the care, custody, and management underneath the provisions of Article 97. Long and short of that is saying that it gets the protection of the park, of being a park. All this stuff about going to the state might come back, and I don't know that that's actual. I think what we have to worry about is the intent of this, when I introduced this piece of business in December 22, was to make sure that Highland Country Club then became Highland Park legally, because it hasn't been technically legally a park because it hasn't fallen under Article 97. All this stuff about the state, it's if, a developer comes in and whoever's mayor 20 years from now says, hey, I think this is a great time to build that joint public safety complex. It's in the middle of the city. There's a process that goes into it, which I can't speak articulately around, but it would still need to pass at a state level at 2/3 of the general council, not us. So just bringing it back to where we're at, this is about, do we want this to fall under Article 97? Give us a couple of built-in protections for the things that we know that we've received public feedback on. Vice President Dolan, and then Councilor Holmes.
Thank you. So I agree with almost everybody, what everybody's saying. My concern is that if this amendment muddies the waters enough for them to send it back to us, we all know how government works. We're not super quick. And everybody that's sitting here right now has 1 year left on this council. My concern is, and I realize we're going down a rabbit hole, but I feel like this is an extremely important rabbit hole because the previous council was very passionate about saving this property. That's why we allowed the purchase to go through. So my concern is muddying the waters. at the 11th hour to add in things that we all feel like falls under a park anyway. So my concern is, I know it's hypothetical, but it goes to the state, takes a long time, none of us are here. And then we're not protecting the property that we fought so hard to protect from the get-go. So that's my concern. If we're reading this and being like, oh, well, that's all what happens in a park anyway, then why include it? I'm just afraid to muddy the waters, to give them any reason to send this back. I came in here tonight wanting to vote Article 97 to protect the entire 89 acres that we have left. So,
89.6.
thank you. So that was my intent tonight, and this just concerns me. It concerns me because it seems moot. It seems like it's all park stuff anyway, and it seems like it's just, we could muddy the waters and we could set ourselves up for failure. So that's my concern. Thank you.
Before I recognize Councilor Holmes, respectfully, I think this talk of it coming back and not getting approved, I think that's what's muddying the water, and
Bless you.
that's not accurate.
Yeah.
This, and we don't know 100% that this stuff is included. We think it is. We're pretty confident it is, but based on what the solicitor said, I think it just gives us more leverage to be able to get these things and keep these things. Councilor Holmes.
Thank you. Yes, this is, the state is going to look at this, and we're saying we're open to giving, we want this property to be protected under Article 97. They're not going to say, well, no, we don't like that sentence. That's not how it works. If they did, then we could always revisit it and even do a deed restriction. There's other avenues to take, but I just think that that's not reality, that they would never turn around and say, because of this sentence, we're not going to include this. With that being said, I was originally open to, but I did talk to the administration about it, carving out maybe 2 or 3 acres in the Rathburn side, because we never know if the city they aren't making more land, and we don't know what the future needs of the city are. We don't know if there's a building that could potentially be going there, but it seems like that's going to be overly complicated, and the administration does have something in mind for the joint safety complex. But I think that location would be okay. The high school's there. It's close to 2 elementary schools, a middle school. That would be a good location to have something like that there. But it seems like that's just going to be too complicated at this point. I would support this amendment, and I do support doing this. And that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to go to a vote on the amendment, we'll call it the Cobus Amendment. We'll have a roll call vote beginning with Councilor Tavares. A yes vote is in favor of the amendment. A no vote is against the amendment.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
No.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Lavoy?
Yes.
Ms. Foa?
No.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
Eight yeas, 2 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes. We are now back to the main motion as amended. Do we have additional comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, this will be a roll call vote beginning with Councilor Cobus.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Foa?
Yes.
Mr. Lavoy?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo? Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes. Councilor Reynolds?
I believe that is all the business. I have stuff that you guys, excuse me, okay. That is all the business that the City Property and Claims Committee has this evening, but I would like to call a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Dolan?
Thank you. Reporting for Public Works Committee from the docket of December 17, 2024, I move to transfer $23,750.51 from account Public Works salary and wages to the following to fund required repairs to the catch basin cleaning truck and mandated storm water countermeasurements plan for the Lamb Street facility. $13,750.51 to account Public Works Professional Services, $10,000 to account Public Works NIPD's Services.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
None, we discussed in committee.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, this will be a roll call vote with Mr. Tavares.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Lavoy?
Yes.
Ms. Foa?
Yes.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of December 17th, 2024, I move to transfer $637.57 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account Citywide Bills previous years in order to pay a previous year's charges to National Grid due to an ongoing traffic light meter issue.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
No, we discussed in committee.
I have a roll call vote beginning with Mr. Cobus.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Foa?
Yes.
Mr. Lavoy?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
And that's all the business for Public Works Committee, and I call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Council Holmes.
Thank you. Reporting for Public Safety and Emergency Management Committee, I have 3 motions this evening from the docket of December 17, 2024. I move to approve expending of such funds and any future grant amendments regarding the receipt of an emergency management performance grant from the Massachusetts Emergency Management Agency of $15,500 to the fire department.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
No, we went over in committee.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote beginning with Mr. Tavares.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Lavoy?
Yes.
Ms. Foa?
Yes.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of December 17, 2024, I move to transfer $8,285 from account fire employee training to account fire training supplies to purchase a wireless headphone system.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
We discussed it in committee.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote beginning with Mr. Cobus.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Foa?
Yes.
Mr. Lavoy?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
From the docket of December 17, 2024, I move to transfer $2,550 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account fire previous year's bill for a fiscal year 24 Firematic supply invoice.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
No.
Do you have any additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, we'll have a roll call vote beginning with Mr. Tavares.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Mr. Lavoy?
Yes.
Ms. Foa?
Yes.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
President Delicio?
Yes.
10 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. Motion passes.
That's all the business this evening. Call for committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Council Tavares.
For Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services, from the docket of December 3rd, 2024, I move to approve the appointment of Michael St. Croix to the position of Assistant Auditor for the City of Attleboro, term to expire February 2026.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
No comments.
Thank you for running point for Council Angelo, and we'll hope he feels better real soon. Any additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, this will be a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
That concludes the business of Personnel, Veterans, and Human Services. We call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Sawyer.
Zoning and Land Use Committee has no business tonight, and we look forward to a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you very much. Mr. Waterman.
Transportation and Traffic Committee has 2 pieces of business this evening. The first is I would move a motion to strike the following from the docket of April 2nd, 2024, to install an RRFB paint crosswalk and complete the sidewalk to meet ADA compliance at South Main Street and Sienna Road, or to suggest the closest possible area to place a crosswalk for safety.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's in order. Any comments?
No, I believe we talked about it last week.
Okay. Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, this is a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
And the second piece of business, I move to strike the following from the docket of December 5th, 2023. If I can just do a first paragraph.
Just the first paragraph will
Thank
be
you.
fine.
That the city undertake a comprehensive study of pedestrian crosswalks in the city of Attleboro for the purpose of developing consistent and safer pedestrian crosswalk design and improving pedestrian crossing conditions and vehicle traffic awareness.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
No, again, I believe we covered this last week
Thank you.
in detail.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, this is a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
And that concludes the business of the Transportation and Traffic Committee. This evening, we'll meet at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Barrett.
Ordinances, elections, and legislative matters has no business for this evening. We call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Would like to, I'll call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time for personnel, conference class.
Reporting for the Special Committee for Tax Abatement Review. From the docket of December 17, 2024, I move to approve the exemptions regarding the financial interest identified by the following part-time city and school employees who seek to participate in the Senior Tax Abatement Program: Mary Barrett, Diane Carlin, Lorraine Murill, and Joanne Ventola.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
We discussed in committee, but just by way of reminder, this is a list of individuals who, as the motion says, are part-time employees with the city, but who are also participating in the Senior Tax Abatement Program, but they do their time for the program in the same department that they also work for part-time for the city. So this is really just a disclosure requirement.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, this is a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
That concludes the business for the Special Committee for Tax Abatement Review. We call for a committee meeting at the next appropriate time.
Thank you. Councilor Follow.
For the Special Committee on Rules and Procedures from the docket of December 17, 2024, I move to amend the title and items to go before the Attleboro Municipal Council Rules of Procedure 2021 edition as follows. Section 7-1.12, the Committee on Zoning, Land Use, and Sustainability, pursuant to subsection 7-1-12.1. Items to go before this committee shall include matters that pertain to proposals to municipal council on ways and means of initiating or developing new programs and policies to enhance sustainability and resiliency practices impacting the natural environment, the economy, and the community.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
I think this is a reasonable modification of the zoning committee's jurisdiction, shall we say, and gives a venue for the Sustainability Commission to bring matters before us.
Thank you. Nice work on that.
Thank you.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, this will be a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. There is no old business. There's one piece of new business for which I'll recognize Councilor Foa.
Thank you. I move to refer the following for study and recommendation. To ensure members have reasonable time to prepare for a meeting, all docket items, motions, and new business should be given to the Municipal Council Administrative Assistant and filed with the City Clerk no later than the Thursday prior to the next regular meeting, and to strike Rule of Procedure Article 4-4.1, providing motions are to be submitted by the close of business on the Friday preceding the next council meeting.
Second.
Thank you. Motion is in order. Any comments?
Yes, first of all, I apologize to the council, but I seem to have omitted in my transfer of this to the administrative assistant, the first line. So I would amend this
You can
motion.
amend that when it's in committee.
Fine, but let me just then inform you that
Sure.
what this does is amend Article 5-2.1 so that there's no longer a conflict. And particularly in light of the fact that Fridays are now short Fridays, this just provides that everything that we have to give to the administrative assistant, we do by the close of business on Thursday. It makes for ease of consistency and ease for that person holding that position to comply with our requests.
Additional questions, comments, concerns? Seeing none, this is a voice vote. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. We'll put that in special committee for rules and procedures. Couple quick announcements before we adjourn. Tonight is our last meeting of 2024. Building is closed on December 24th, which is Christmas Eve. The following Tuesday is New Year's Eve. So our next meeting, regular meeting, will be January 7th, 2025. We'll be starting at 6 o'clock that night with committees. Once we're done with the committees, we'll go into the regular meeting to vote out everything, because it's going to be 3 weeks between now and then, just to vote out everything that came down. Just a reminder, January 6th at the high school, we do have the second annual joint meeting with the school committee. So I think we'll get a first look at what their budget's looking like and some other agenda items. But thank you all for your work this year. It was a lot of work, but I think we've gotten a lot done. I'm looking to a successful 25 as well.
Mr. President, what time is that joint?
I believe it's 6 o'clock, but we'll get a notice out in plenty of time. Yep. With that being said, I want to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We are adjourned at 7:46.